Alright guys, before today's episode, just to let you know that we now have live shows on sale. Tickets are available now. 2 shows that we're doing at the Edinburgh Festival, one on the 15th and one on the 23rd of August. Tickets on sale now for that one. And we'll also be live in London on September 9th, I believe, of September. It's a Saturday night. Tickets available now if you want to see us in the big smoke. Of course, this will not be news to you if you are on the Patreon. We've already put out tickets for people to buy.
Announced it.
Yep.
And if you'd like to sign up for access to tickets for anyone else and all our extra content, it's just you can sign up for as little as £3 a month.
Yep.
Where you will get the 2 previous live shows we've done as well. There's Glee and Stand in Glasgow, both very fun.
Yes.
And lots of hours of previous episodes. And, you know, it's a fun time over there, guys.
Absolutely.
Early
And
access, extra content.
of course, we will be doing 2 Some Laugh Lives at the Fringe, but we also have our own stand-up shows during August that we'll be doing. Guys, where will you be at?
I will be at the Monkey Barrel Comedy Club every day from the 2nd to the 27th at 1:30 in the afternoon, apart from the 16th.
I'm in the same room, same day off, but I start way earlier. I start on the 31st of July,
Crazy.
the month of July.
Crazy.
I don't know. I'm a glutton for punishment
There you go.
till the 27th.
What time are you on?
5:45 every day. Love that for me.
Nice one.
Which is the title of the show.
And I just love that for me as well.
I'll be doing my show.
We always clash.
Yeah, we all means to clash as ever. I'll be on at 10 to 6 every night at the Tron, which is on the Monkey Barrel as well. Tickets available now. So we'll hopefully see you guys at the Fringe, at the live shows, at our stand-up shows, and maybe even in London as well if you're there. But aside from that, guys, enjoy today's episode.
Enjoy.
Welcome to the Some Laugh podcast.
It could be like, oh, that was some laugh, or there was just some laughs.
Well, no promising all laugh.
No,
It's
there's going to be some.
some laugh. See, when I done your podcast, you at one point had a pair of those Bose earphones. You're like, I'll get rid of these shite ones. And I was like, oh no, that's ones that I've got. I was like, I thought they were quite good actually.
No, they are good, but I've had them that long. They're actually like the leather's peeling away and stuff. And I was just like, I just bought new ones. But I bought new ones at the end of March because I was like, I need to spend money so my tax bill's less. But I spent too much.
Right.
So then I was like, I've got all these headphones and microphones and I'm just getting...
We'll
tax
take
bill's
some
gonna
off you if you
Yeah, absolutely. I just gave a load of stuff to some young folks who are starting a podcast about travelling communities and like circus folk. And I was
That's
like,
cool.
pure fascinated by that. So I just gave them
Oh, that's good.
a load of stuff that was lying about.
So you're handing on the baton to new podcasters.
Absolutely.
What have
need
you started?
competition
We don't
in
need the
that,
competition, Brido.
We're trying to freeze them out. Stay in your lane.
No, there's room for all of us. There's enough for everybody.
Of course, I don't know if there's much crossover with the traveller community and ours.
Well, I don't think like, you know, a kind of investigative journalism sort of documentary isn't probably crossing paths with us, is it?
Maybe
I mean, people
not.
only coming here for information.
No.
It's
Lord
not
help
all.
them if they
It's
are.
not all laughs. It's, you know, there's some information.
That
that
doesn't
gets,
mean it's good info.
No, it's ill-informed stuff that we're.
Have we started?
Aye.
All right, okay. People say that to me all the time, and I'm like, I wonder. Oh, come on, they must know we've started. Now I know what that feels like.
I know this
Well,
is
I done your podcast as well. Didn't
Aye.
I?
And did you think, have we started?
No, well, because you weren't like we've started now.
No,
Here we
yeah.
go. It's just a wee chat, and then
Right.
and that's what it's
Try and
supposed
catch
to be.
people with their guard down.
Yeah,
I'm supposed to know that trick.
Yeah.
I fucking made that trick up. And now you pull that on me.
That's it.
But that's just in case they'll say something really juicy, and we've got it on mic. 'cause
Yeah, that's
people-
good.
They've got their guard down.
That's really like
The real gossip.
We were wanting some sort of theatre
Salacious.
gossip.
Theatre gossip. Are you excited about what the theatre gossip might be?
Aye. What have we got?
There's possibly going to be a new production of Hamlet at the Lyceum. Don't mention it to him.
We had Martin Quinn on a wee while ago, and he was
Aye.
talking about.
We've not actually released that.
Yeah, you're
episode
probably
yet, and it
laughing.
still won't
It's
be
not
out.
been-
Yeah,
Oh, Martin Quinn's one of my favourite humans.
He's the best,
great.
isn't he?
He's
so
so
funny.
For just loads of boring reasons, we've sat on his episode for ages now. So even though we are friends with him, he must think we fucking hate him.
I sent him
Yeah.
I sent him a
It's not
voice
come out
note
yet.
the other day and was like, explained why, and I was just like, I'm so sorry, mate. Please don't think it's anything to do with the quality of the episode.
did they get back to you?
I said, oh, it's fine and all that, but I was just like, cool. But I'll not get into this.
Anyway,
Do you need me for any of this?
Sorry, thank you
welcome.
for being here.
Thanks for- just to
Thank you
support.
very much.
Brido Hingwy.
Brido Hingwy.
Can I use your full name? Is that all right?
Yeah. You mean other than Brido Hingwy?
O'Sullivan?
O'Sullivan, yeah. No, it's not a secret.
No, it's not an
O'Sullivan,
industry
yeah.
secret.
No, I tried to, like, because when I first started acting, there was a Brian O'Sullivan. There is a Brian O'Sullivan on Equity,
Right.
and you can't have two.
Yes.
You know?
That must be fucking annoying.
Yeah.
It is, because then I spent ages trying to think, what am I going to do? It was, I was going already by the name Brian James because I thought I was a little neater
Yeah.
before I joined Equity. Then I joined Equity and like, there was already a Brian James. So I was like, I'm just going to be Brian O'Sullivan, which I thought sounded a bit dull because I'm used to it, because I've been living with it for a long time.
Of course.
So then I threw the James in as well. But days and days I was like, what am I going to be? And now I don't need to worry about it because I'm Brido Hingwy.
So is that that's not your Equity?
No,
name,
it's
is it?
not. It's not.
Can imagine you in the West End, and we've got
And,
Brido
like,
Hingwy here.
I think I shouldn't have made that deed poll change.
On your tax return.
Yeah. Tax what?
You should be allowed to overtake people. Like, if you've got more IMDb credits or something, you should then
100%.
get claim to the name.
Yeah, it
That
should
may
a
well be the
meritocracy.
case, which is why I didn't get the name.
Where did the Brido Hingwy name come from?
We used to, when we were in college, we used to call each other something O'Baggins. And I was Brido Baggins for years. Not because I'm a fan of Lord of the Rings, just because we thought it was funny. You know, when you're young, and you just found it funny with nicknames. So we were like, oh, here he comes. And he'd be like wearing a suit and you go, oh, Smarto Baggins was a thing that we did, right? So I was Brido Baggins for ages. And my parents and all that started calling me Brido, just, you know. And then when I started doing these videos, I was like, I'm not just going to do it on my own. You know, I started a new Instagram and all that. I was like, what am I going to call myself?
Aye.
So I thought something kind of Glasgow that doesn't really say anything but says everything.
Aye.
Yeah.
Hingwy. But believe it or not, even that, you wouldn't think that would be contentious to anybody calling yourself Hingwy. It's just a thing.
Yeah.
People go, I think it's actually Hingme with an M.
Aye.
People will still argue, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That you're wrong,
That
even
you're
though your
wrong about
name is
saying-
just Thing.
I would say Hingwy. I would say Hingwy.
I think it's Hingwy.
Maybe that's
I'd
a-
say hang me.
Hingme? Are you a me?
Was that an M?
Yeah.
So it's
I-
W. I
I-
do
it's
W.
I would
It's
say
an
both,
East
but
Coast,
it's one of the ones that now I'm thinking about it, I don't know what I would say naturally. I would
I
need to
think
catch
you just-
myself off guard.
Because
It's a bit of both, isn't it?
It
Hingwy?
doesn't insult
Hingme.
me here.
well, it stems
You're
from.
not upset, are you?
Not
I'm
furious.
sure it stems from Hingmajig. Hingmajig.
Thingamajig.
Well,
So
that's
it's an
Thingamajig.
M.
Thingamajig.
Right. In that
Thingamajig,
case-
then Hingamajig.
You
Oh,
changed
I
your
just said
handle.
Hingame.
Oh,
Yeah, you're making my point.
Hingwy jig.
aye.
Hingamajig, but then.
So it's M, but I've gone W because
Yeah, Hingwy.
I just thought,
Okay.
whatever.
Who cares?
But yeah, that's where
That's
we
the
are
etymology.
now.
And it's 'cause I guess that's people, oh, that Brido guy, Brido Hingwy. What's his
Right, okay.
of the day?
Is it James or is it O'Sullivan? Let's check Equity. Let's put this to bed once and for all.
There's no, can't be a lot of Hingways on the Equity fucking
There can't be a lot of Bridos. What could you not just be Brido O'Sullivan?
Yeah, but the thing
It's a
is,
lot of O's in it in the middle.
Brido
yeah, Brido
O'Sullivan.
O'Sullivan. Yeah, and then you could just cut the O's.
Yeah.
No, but the thing, the Equity thing is for the serious stuff, isn't it?
Sure.
So I'm Brian James O'Sullivan.
But that could be your
You
thing.
can't have a Hamlet played by a Brido, can you?
But maybe that could be your
You'll
thing.
Stopping you.
Just
Yeah.
wait and see.
Maybe.
The
Because
first
you'd be
Brido
memorable.
Hamlet.
I think that's what it's about, being memorable, innit? And
Yeah.
standing out in a pile.
Maybe I'll just be Brido then.
I've
Standing
heard-
in a pile.
Aye, look,
Pile of headshots.
Pile of headshots. You got
Oh,
that's,
yeah.
That's Brido Hingwy there. That's such a weird name.
That's so old school Hollywood.
Well, yeah, because I was
Hey,
listening
you're going to be a star, kid. On the casting couch. What's your name, Brido?
I was listening to a podcast with Keanu Reeves, and he was talking about that. That was his big thing.
I
like-
gave him the headphones for that and the mics.
Keanu
Just to
Reeves?
keep him, get him started.
Johnny
This
begins
kid.
at home, doesn't it? He said I'll just have a weird name.
Well, I think it was like maybe his middle name or something. I don't know. I don't think it was just a weird name.
Picked it. What? These are funny sounds. Yeah, I know. I do that.
Is that not his real name?
No.
No, I feel duped now.
But that's because people call their Waynes and all that now, don't they? Or is that just that old British bit? Is that but people must call
Yeah.
themselves Keanu now?
Yeah,
Ah, because of
name, I
that. Yeah,
think.
yeah.
Aye.
yeah. I don't know if it
Just
stems
assume.
from him.
Maybe
I think it was
people-
a real name.
It was the middle name of the kid in the royal family. David Keanu Ronan Best, not the royal family.
Oh, no.
that's
The
yeah.
sitcom,
Yeah,
because at the
yeah.
time, like that, they were,
That was
you
a
know,
thing.
Big star.
That's right.
because
Yeah.
they were thinking if it was going to be a girl, they were saying we're thinking about Whitney, and Barbara's like Whitney, that's beautiful. So it must have been like two really big names at the time.
Yeah.
Do you think that'd be a good sign of making it if somebody called their kid Brido because of you?
That's it. That's the ultimate thing.
Yeah.
I'm in Hamlet in the West End, just Brido, one word, like Cher,
Like Madonna.
and then people start naming their kids after me.
And then they become actors and they kind of get on Equity because there's so many.
And the cycle continues. Yeah, exactly. I love it.
See, when you die, does that mean your name's on Equity? Can anyone then?
I think I think it then becomes available.
That's good.
But of course, like if you,
That's a movie idea.
That's good.
Killing
There you
everybody
go.
above you with a sin name.
but then if they had made any waves, then there wouldn't be any point because you'd be like, oh no, but I'm not that Keanu Reeves. He's dead.
Yeah.
That would be dumb.
Yeah.
So you're waiting for someone who hasn't really made an impact.
Yeah, exactly.
to
It'd have
die.
to be lower down.
Do you know, I always get confused. I don't know how Steve McQueen was that old actor, and then there's a Steve
that
McQueen
right?
that's a director now.
That's right. Aye.
So did he get to be called Steve McQueen in the professional world because fucking Steve McQueen?
I
Yeah,
think if
must
he's a
have died.
director, he probably doesn't.
Yeah, I don't know
They,
if he acts.
they have a different union, so it wouldn't matter.
All right.
So it's like picking a username into it. It's like, you know, how the good
Yeah.
ones been taken.
There's a Stephen Buchanan on Twitter that doesn't use it. It's tweeted once
nice.
years and years ago. And it's-
At Mark Jennings is I'm
Are you pleased to see Twitter dying on its heart?
yeah, very happy. Yeah. Big threads.
Got it on
man,
threads. Yeah.
I only got that last night, Freds.
Same.
Aye.
But this morning.
By the time this goes out,
It'll be
which
dead by
is
then.
like next week or something.
What the whole
probably.
thing of like you can't. You can only look at so many tweets. Is that what you're talking about?
No, so there's a new thing that Facebook have brought out called Threads. And it's
Instagram.
basically aye,
Owned by
it's
Facebook.
owned by Meta.
Oh, so they're bringing out their own
don't
new.
believe
Aye,
it.
they've,
Yeah.
they've got their own a Facebook version of Twitter, basically, an Instagram version of Twitter.
Are we all going on that?
It feels better than what Twitter is now, to be fair.
Oh, I didn't even know this.
Still
One
just
out
showing
of
you
10.
mad random shit though,
Yeah.
that you've not asked for.
That's kind of the whole thing about social media, though, isn't
No,
it?
I
At
know.
this point,
But back in the day, it used to be like you just got whoever you'd followed.
right,
That was
right.
the whole point, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, there
It
was a
pisses me off.
turning point where it's like,
Yeah.
oh, and all this other shit
Yeah.
and all these adverts.
Yeah.
However, we have probably all benefited from the algorithm. Your stuff coming up.
Nice
There you go.
segue. Nice
That's
segue.
good, yeah.
Jim.
You know,
Lovely work.
Right back on
That's
track.
You got
No fun on this, so it's straight to
No, no,
business.
no.
straight to the point. But that's, I mean, you've had loads of fucking brilliant videos that you put out. Did you start during lockdown putting them out?
Yeah,
And it's just about a couple of characters. So you've got like Janice and Frank
it was just Janice.
and just Janice.
And she didn't have glasses on. I always speak about it in the third person, you know, she. And it was just like a mum, like mama kind of thing.
Aye.
Like, oh, here, wait to hear this. In fact, the first video was just, I know,
Yeah, I remember seeing that.
Yeah,
Just
but
that.
It was
So
just
funny.
that.
Over and over
I
again.
I loved that. Just the filling out like a minute and a half of just
Right.
but it's telling so much.
Right, and you're waiting you're trying to figure out what's the other person saying.
always
Oh,
the
I
same.
know. Oh, terrible. We were exactly the same. But no glasses, no character name, just me doing this daft idea and sent it to my pal. He went, what are you doing? Put that online. And I put it on, and then the story goes, although this is probably not entirely true, at some point I got a retweet from Limmy. I woke up in the morning and he'd retweeted one of them. Not maybe the first one, but pretty soon. And then it just kind of went.
Snowballed for there.
Yeah.
But Frank used to be called Uncle Patter. It was just a voice I did, funnily enough, at the Lyceum, backstage at the Lyceum in Edinburgh. We're getting ready to do a show, and I'd be like, "Did you hear this? I'm going for a Chinese with the boys. It's a Christmas night out, right?" Now, John, wait to hear this. You'll love this. John is very wealthy. He sold his company for $7,000. And some people in the company would be like, "Going to stop doing that." And other people who I then liked were like, "Oh, I love this Uncle Patter," and that was who he was. He was just Uncle Patter, like any uncle.
Very
Because see
funny.
the thing to me, right? It was, see when I first seen it, it's so uncanny. Because like,
Yeah.
see Janice, right? My gran speaks exactly like that.
That's what people say. Innit?
And to the point where I was like, he must live near me. It's like, you know that way certain parts of Glasgow, there's a really, you can kind of hear wee distinctions in the
Yeah, yeah.
accent. And then with Frank as well, like it's just so spot on. Like I'm so fascinated, like how much, so see when you would do a video like that, how much prep goes into it? Like would you know it kind of word for word?
No, not at all.
Really?
I think I go like, I either think of a central idea. So say like if I went to the co-op to get a meal deal or something, right? And then I noticed something like, I don't know if you've noticed this by the way, but see in the co-op, they all have headsets and they all talk to each other, but they don't have to like click in. They're constantly on a loop with each other and they all talk all day. Now, first of all, I would never want to work in the co-op, but if I had to work, and the headsets were going all day, and you think they're talking to you, so they're cashing up, and they're like, I know I said to him, but the thing was, he never came in for his shift on Saturday, and I'm like, who's she talking to? And then I realised they're all, but they're in a tiny wee shop. One of them's down there stacking a shelf, and they're all having this ongoing gossip. Anyway, see, I went to the co-op and I noticed that, I'd be like, right, Frank could notice that. And he came in, bloody nonsense, by the way. So I would start a video and I'd go, I would try and start with a non sequitur. Like, I mean, the thing is, you don't really get SCART leads anymore. And then just go into right and start the co-op chat. And then I know that centrally I need to get to this chat about the headsets.
Aye.
And then I just let Frank talk and see what else he comes up with. Like, you know, a meal deal isn't really a deal. It's just because meal and deal rhyme. You know what I mean? It's actually just a three price. I did that today. It came to $3.70. And then I was like, I wonder what the meal deal price is. $3.70. It's not a deal. It's just three things. Anyway. So let Frank talk about those things, but I would do a take and then I would look back and I would go, right, that's 4 minutes long.
Aye.
It took me far too long to get to the point. But what was good, I went, right, that was good. The thing about the deal, the rhyme, and I pick out bits.
Yeah.
I don't write them down, but I just go again. And I go, what can I remember? It must be
Aye.
the good stuff. And I'm like editing as I go.
Fucking hell.
So probably like the third or fourth take,
Right.
I'll go with. If I go over about 4 takes, I start to go, this is a lot of work. Like
Yeah.
any more than about 10 minutes and I'm just kind of resenting it.
And is it like you do it in one take usually? Like
It's
one
all
continuous
one continuous shot,
take?
yeah.
And is that for an editing purpose, or do you just like the style of that? Or
Initially it was just like, what can I do with how few resources? Like
right?
how funny can it still be without me doing anything fancy?
Yeah,
And also I'm extremely lazy.
yeah.
So I'm like, what's the shortest version of this that I can possibly do?
It also adds to it because it just feels like you're sitting next to like
You're stuck next to some prick at a party.
I
or
like
something.
Yeah,
your,
exactly,
your
yeah.
uncle like that talks like that, and it's just like you're sitting, and so having no cuts and all that just adds
You've
to
got
that
no
thing.
escape.
Yeah,
It's claustrophobic.
Right, because how often are you like that and you're like, oh, for fuck. But yeah, I think anything else just, it's just a different way of doing things because there's stuff that's made, you know, like really intricately that I think is amazing.
aye,
You know, it's not a judgment, but for me, it's A, laziness, and B, like, what's the quickest route from the idea to the audience's brain?
yeah,
And that's
Yeah.
something that's got shorter and shorter in our generation. And ironically, with TV and stuff, it's got longer and longer.
Aye.
So, you know, you've heard or you're probably involved in the endless development process of TV where you're like, will I ever get this idea, which is now withering on the vine,
Yeah,
into the minds of this audience? And what's the quickest way I can do it? Cut out all the middle shite
yeah,
and just say it and then put it online.
yeah.
That because then I literally was at the co-op 2 minutes ago and now you're hearing about what I think of that. It's the quickest route to getting the material out.
Yeah.
It's great.
It's a great way of thinking about it.
Yeah,
absolutely.
definitely.
It's amazing that we can do that. I mean, 20 years ago, we couldn't, even if we were like the funny kid at school, we still had to go through a whole thing to like
Yeah,
get an idea out there.
There was still gatekeepers and that. We were talking
Right.
about that like in the last interview. And how do you find that then? So there's a lot of people saying that they don't like reels because it's changing comedy and stuff. But is that the way? And you're from a theatre background as well.
Yeah.
But is that how do theatre people feel about that sort of stuff? You putting videos online?
That's a great question. I mean, I think that during the pandemic, most of my friends who are involved in theatre found other things that they could do, like, or worked on their sideline or their side hustle because they had to.
Mm.
And for some people, it was like, I edit show reels now. For some people, it was like, I'm doing a podcast. You know, people found things that they
Yeah.
do, some creative, some less so. And that was just mine. So there's no kind of like, Scottish theatre's quite a gentle place. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Nobody's like, oh, fuck. Well, nobody's on the face of it.
Right.
So as far as I
It's
know,
not as cutthroat as maybe in London or something.
or maybe even the stand-up world, from what I've seen a wee bit.
All right.
I don't know. I think, well, look, I can't really.
Yeah.
I did little bits of stand-up, and one of the reasons I didn't keep doing it was like, this is brutal.
Like the community? Do you
Yeah,
mean?
because I was brought up in theatre, and I was like, oh, this is a dog fight.
Yeah,
I don't want to fight.
I wonder if maybe at first it feels a wee bit less welcoming just because it feels like everybody else knows each other and you don't.
It might just be that.
Yeah.
And I think it just takes a while to get to know people.
But
But
there is
generally, it's.
I would
I've
say
listened to
though,
it.
from like when I started as well, I think people who have been on the scene for a while, they look down on open spots, is what they're called if you're just starting out, and it's
Aye.
like it's quite a dirty word. It's like, oh, he's just an open spot or whatever.
Right.
And it feels, I do think there is a bit of a divide until you get to a certain level, and
Right.
then you're welcomed.
And I think it's changed now. I think like because you've got a lot more autonomy. We've been able to do your own stuff. Whereas even when we started, and maybe I don't know when it was you done it, but even whenever that was, I could imagine it was just a bit. Everybody was a bit more like, "Fuck's this guy," you know, that kind of stuff.
Well, nobody was putting out videos except maybe Lemmy.
Yeah.
When I did stand up, the briefest little moment, but it was like 2010 maybe,
Aye.
or something like that. So it was like, you know, if you wanted to get material in front of people, you kind of had to go to the stand.
Yeah.
That was it. I think, or at least in my world, that's how it
Aye,
seemed.
aye, aye.
It's different now. I don't know how it would be now, but I feel like the process that I go through feels so different to a stand-up world, and I kind of like the way I managed to do it. So I don't feel like people are like, would you not do stand-up? And I'm kind of like, there's people that's really good at that, and that's not what I do, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But you have taken your characters to live shows, right? You've done.
Yeah, and that was always the aim. Although I didn't start putting the videos out for any reason except boredom. Anything that I do that audiences like, I always think, right, how would that be in a live room? Because I'm a theatre person. Like, I want to do a performance in front of people.
Yeah.
So yeah, as soon as I thought there was something in it, I was like, right, I want to do live shows. But I don't think in a stand-up context.
No.
Because I think once you get a few numbers, actually now, the people that come and see my shows are people that already know. Like, they know the stuff. So it's like playing to the home crowd.
Yeah.
Why would I go to a comedy club
Yeah.
and try and entice audiences over to my stuff? Like, what would be the point? Well, I suppose to get more people to like it, but like, it seems like a lot of effort to me.
Do you feel that if people have seen your stuff online and then they come to you from a live performance and maybe they're not theatre people, so they don't really get that environment, do you feel like, is it hard to win those people over? Are they confused about, and maybe they're thinking that it would be more like a stand-up show?
I think the expectations they vary high. I think people think it might be me talking and then like dipping in and out of character stuff. I don't know, but they get on board with the format pretty quickly.
Right.
It's basically monologues.
Yeah.
Which is quite an old-fashioned thing. To me, like, I'm inspired by like Alan Bennett and Victoria Wood and stuff like that, Ricky Fulton. So longer form monologues where the character, again, like the videos, is talking to someone who's not there.
Yeah.
And just telling them about what they think of such and such, telling them what they did last night. But then what I do in the shows is, as the characters all talk individually, you start to piece together the bigger narrative that's involving all of them. They don't interact in front of us.
Yeah.
Except in this show I'm about to do, there's one scene for the first time ever. Groundbreaking stuff. Two of my characters are going to be on stage at the same time.
Wow.
Right.
I'm basically Eddie Murphy.
How are you doing that then?
Just
turning it like that.
Half shave the beard. And
the whole costume, a wig on one side. But normally it's not that. It's just like you're kind of surmising from these monologues little bits of information so that by the end you go, oh wait, so he's the, and then hopefully a little surprise at the end, a reveal or something.
Yeah.
You've got a obviously like particular set of skills as well, because coming from a theatre background, then being able to put out like funny viral videos and then being able to translate that to a theatre show that's got a structure but incorporating those characters, like, it's a bit of a perfect storm, I feel like, for that. And I do wonder, like,
he's nice, isn't he?
See with people, because it's people that can put out like viral the kind of videos, but wouldn't have the ability to put together a show that you're describing like that. But I also wonder, like, see people that are from the same kind of theatre background as you, because really, like, if you do a great monologue of Hamlet or something, that's not going viral on Instagram. No. But if you've got the capacity to do something funny, like you've done,
I guess
did they get jealous? They're going, oh fuck, like he can do that, and now he can do your own shows, and it's a bit more, you've got that bit more control.
I think it's like it might be like theatre people go, oh, so you're like a comedian as well, and then comedy people go, oh, so you're like an actor. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Kind of have a foot in both camps and try to find, like you say, a perfect storm somewhere where they meet. To me, the best theatre is funny, heartwarming, has a bit of music in it, and you're up the road like in decent time. You can get the last.
Doesn't go on too long.
Yeah, exactly. So I kind of very simply go, right, laugh, cry, song, home. That's basically it. And that's a really old-fashioned way of looking at it.
Aye.
But it turns out it still works. Like all that old stuff that I used to love, Francie and Josie live shows would have been that. Laugh, couple of songs, a wee tear in your eye at the end, a bit of nostalgia, up the road.
Yeah.
Why not?
it's a classic for a reason.
Yeah.
Right, it still works.
Yeah, it does, yeah.
I guess it's for us at Fringe shows, you feel like you have to have that wee sad bit at the end nowadays.
45
but then
minutes.
also have a laugh afterwards.
Of course,
maybe instead of a song.
Instead of the song.
Yeah, but a wee bit at the end where people go, Oh,
A bit
right.
of pathos.
Pathos. And then, but I'm only joking.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Please buy my merch.
God, isn't he clever?
Yeah, exactly. It all came
You've been here
together.
previous.
I've seen what you guys are doing. We're all doing it. You find a wee formula that works.
And see, when you before the videos and everything, was it mainly straighter acting you were doing, like more dramatic roles, or was it always kind of comedy?
No, it wasn't always comedy. Most of my acting work has been actor muso work, which is like, you know, a play that has music in it where the actors play the instruments as well and sing.
All right, okay.
So some musicals, like Scottish musicals, some plays, some funny bits, but not like, and definitely not any kind of leading male, you know, romantic lead type stuff. But a lot of young stuff, because I've always looked a bit younger. I mean, it's starting to fade now. I'm kind of grateful for it because I played 17 for a long time on stage.
What was the oldest you played 17 at?
Within the last couple of years.
Really?
Yeah.
Bloody hell.
The thing about acting is mostly that people think that you would get to play all different characters, but a lot of the time, especially in more modern stuff, it's not, no one's asking you to do funny voices and put on wigs and play all different ages, and you're actually getting cast because of how you look and to be as kind of as close to you as possible. You know, like you look at TV acting, nobody's like playing an old guy. They just hire an old guy, right?
Yeah.
Except it's still game, obviously, but
One exception. But with my own stuff, I can just do whatever I want.
aye.
Be
I have
old,
been cast
young,
as a
whatever.
posh wank in something in a couple of weeks. I need to.
Oh, have you?
Big stretch.
Ah, so there is it, yeah. So they
Yeah.
are actually asking people to stretch. Weird. Posh wank, is that the one with the condom?
No, I just mean like a guy that sounds a bit posh and happens to be a wank.
That's the thing, though. It's like MD that's not got a Glasgow accent.
Yeah.
Posh
It's
wank.
just posh.
Yeah, it's not about me.
Aye.
It kind of is. It's about all of us.
Yeah.
Come on.
It's a group effort.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
an ensemble.
Hey, he's got the theatre terminology out as well.
Come on.
Make me feel comfortable.
I've
Thank
done
you.
a lot of research for you coming on.
Sure you have. Yeah, I come in here and you were eating pineapple at a box.
Couldn't even shake his hand because the fucking pineapple
Sorry, I've got
just.
pineapple in my hands. You know me with my research.
But I kind of, you've touched on this, but I want to know a wee bit more, like how. So you've put out videos in the theatre. People can see this. Do they roll their eyes at that, or do they respect that? Do you think, or what,
I don't know anybody rolling their eyes, but again, I wouldn't, would I? I don't think anybody would openly do it, but
Yeah.
no, I think generally speaking, the theatre community is such that you see someone doing something else and you go, nice one.
Is it more
Fair play to you.
respectful?
I think
'Cause
so,
Even
yeah.
like when we started putting out videos, comedians would roll their eyes and go, "Oh, he's putting out videos and stuff." And now it's an accepted thing. But
Right.
Yeah.
I thought for theatre, because it would be, you know, more of a high art or whatever, and
Yeah.
acting, and maybe like, "Oh, that's beneath
Do they look
us."
down on comedy a wee bit, maybe? Is there a snobbishness?
I don't think there is, but I think some of the thing is that I get recognised a lot less in the theatre community. Like
Right.
if I do a play, very few people in like at stage door will come to me like, "You Brido Hingwy." They're like, "Who, you do comedy as well, do you?" Very good.
Yeah.
They wouldn't care. But like, and the crossover is quite minimal. But occasionally on my TikTok, I get someone going like, "Were you in a play?"
Aye.
And they're mystified. They're like, he was singing and acting and kidding on to be somebody else. No, he can do stuff. I get that a bit, but you know, yeah, I could definitely do theatre as Brian James O'Sullivan, and most people would be like, "Yeah, it's just some guy."
Right.
What's the difference? But I imagine it's a different demographic because I assume like a lot, maybe theatre's maybe an older crowd. I assume a lot of like, what's your crowd's been like? They've been coming to your live shows.
Mostly women of about 40s and 50s.
Oh, really? Is it?
Yeah, a lot of doctors' receptionists.
Oh, really?
Even a surprising amount of them actually called Janice as well. And they'll come up to it. There's a team
Because
of them that
they're
come.
literally getting sent that on WhatsApp.
Yeah,
They'll be
getting
this is
tagged
you.
that.
Right,
Yeah.
and that says me, and they go, "I am Janice. My name's not Janice, but I am Janice," and everyone's like convinced it's them. Kind of like you're like, "This is my gran."
Aye.
But there is a group of them that come to the shows, and I think there's 4 of them, and they're all called Janice. And I'll get messages from the 4 Janices are coming tonight. I'll be 5 with you. Oh. I see the same people again and again. Like
Aye.
I have people that comment on loads of stuff that I do online, come to the shows like regularly, have had custom videos made.
Aye.
Like fans, super fans. But
Yeah.
they're mostly women of about 40 or over.
We had any weird fucked up requests.
I couldn't possibly say that. wouldn't consider them fucked up because I will do anything.
For the right price.
For 50 quid.
No, what the amazing thing is that most people, I say, give us 5 bullet points and about whoever it is that I'm doing the video for, and they'll just be like, he's got 2 dogs, Sparky and the other one. You know, he goes to Marbella every July, whatever. And this funny thing happened to him once. He fell down a manhole, whatever. And I'll just extrapolate from that and make something up. Some people, even when I say that, will send me 5 like big chunks.
Paragraph.
Each one counts as a bullet point, apparently. Yet more people will actually send me a script. I'm talking gags written,
Really?
everything, other options. Or you could maybe think of something better for this. I'll leave it to you. You're the comedian. I'm like, apparently not.
Wow.
Do you ever
Full
just
scripts.
do verbatim what they want and be like, you can see how this dies on its arse?
Easy,
One time
man.
I did it. Someone sent me a recording of an answer phone message that he'd found on an answer machine in a house that they moved into. And it was an old woman. It's terrible, but I did it. I've never done it out publicly, but it's like something like, hello, Jeanette, it's Moira. Moira from the club. And it's all this really specific stuff that you wouldn't write, but it's gold. I'm not wanting a haircut this week, but I just wanted to remind you that Margaret came along on Thursday and you should have seen what she was wearing. She goes into slagging off this woman. The size of the heels of the woman's in their 70s. And it went on. And she went, maybe you could do something with this. We've kept this recording. We recorded it off the answer machine and we've kept it for 10 years and we listen back to it because we think it's dead funny. We don't know who any of the people are. We don't know the context of it. We just think it's really funny. Maybe we thought it reminded us of you. And I went, I can't better that.
Yeah.
So I recorded it
Perfect.
back as Janet. I typed it out word for word, every breath, and did it as Janice. Hi, it's Janice. I'm not wanting a haircut. And I just sent it back to her and I went, no charge, this is gold. And it kind of, I guess it proves a point which I'm always saying, which is that in a way I don't think you need to write as much as you just need to listen.
Yeah,
You hear it, like it's all there, isn't it?
definitely.
In the way that, in the strangeness of people,
Yeah.
yeah.
you know, and that proves it.
And do you, because yours is, it's like realism and it's very naturalistic. Is that
Right.
what you like doing, or do you like doing a bit of theatre that's, you know, a wee bit more
Oh yeah,
theatrical?
I think I love all that. I think just for the purposes of Brido Hingwy, the realism, the observation is the key, isn't it?
Yeah,
But I suppose what you're trying to do is shine a light on how, although it's natural, it's actually quite absurd.
yep.
Yeah.
The best example I can think of is people don't notice it in themselves, but like my mum, God love her, right? She uses the same face for something that's really bad and something that's really good. And no one thinks that's weird because all mums do it, I think. But when I point it out, people go, that's mad. So that's, how was the night last night at the restaurant? And she'll go, oh, it was fabulous. But it could also go, oh, it's terrible. And you don't know until she says the word. And I'm like, when I look at that, I go, that's bonkers. But people do it all the time and no one thinks it's weird until you point it out and you
Yeah.
go, oh yeah, that is weird.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
You're picking up those mannerisms and then you'll put that in
And
there.
stick it in, but also like to go, this is exactly what happens. But when I do it and reflect it back at you, we all agree that it's funny.
Aye.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
That's what the
Absolutely.
skill is as well, like all observational comedy, whatever. It's in the
Exactly.
specificity of like, you could say, oh, you know, you're just talking nonsense, whatever.
Yeah.
And to a degree you are, but it's like so acutely observed.
It's the nonsense that everyone
The way
talks.
that we all speak in life, that you're
Right.
not, all these social cues that you're all following, that you're not really picking
Aye.
up on. And
Yeah.
it's so good, man.
It's so much fun. Like, and I just think it's a gift to have it because it's everywhere. The material's everywhere. How could you ever run out of material when you do that? Because you just watch people, you just look at their foibles and you go, people are nuts. And it just writes itself.
Yeah.
It's so fun.
Do you find yourself like people watching in public, or is it more people from your family that you're copying?
Always listening.
Yeah, in a wee
I
cafe. or
enjoy, like I was in Lidl. Oh, this was years ago. I've never used it, but I was in a Lidl, the one by the Southern General. Oh, they don't call it that anymore. You know the one. And this guy I got
That's a
talking to.
very
This guy,
That's a very, I was just thinking that, very jealous.
I call it the Southern General.
I'm looking for scat leads, obviously.
Right. The big hospital, the Star Wars one, you know. Talking to this guy, and I don't know how we got talking about it. I'm in recovery, right? And if I get a chance to talk about, you know, to people about if they need help or something, I do. This guy's loading all this drink onto the thing, and he went, "You go before me," because I had one thing, and he went, "I've got all this drink. I shouldn't have realised it's terrible," or something got us in, and I went, oh, right, do you not, like, is it not working for you? He was like, oh, it's terrible, it's hellish, but I have to do it or something. And I went, you know, you don't have to do that. You know, you can do things. And he went, no, that Alcoholics Anonymous and all that. I did go to a meeting once that was in Clydebank in George Bowie Road. And in my brain I go, gold, don't speak, just let him speak. He's trying to say Kilbowie Road and he says George Bowie, and I'm like, this is amazing. But if you did
I
that,
wanted to help this man, but he's helping me.
I
he
feel
doesn't
like
know it.
one
He's
day
giving me
that
gifts.
will be renamed George Bowie Road whenever he passes away.
GBX Avenue.
Because Clyde is on that, just off that
It's
road.
just off that road.
Is it
isn't it?
actually?
Yeah,
What
Clyde
is the
one.
road actually called?
Kilbowie
Road.
Kilbowie Road. You hear people, you know, taxi for Kilbowie Road, George Bowie Road.
There's two things will happen when George Bowie dies. Kilbowie Road will get renamed George Bowie Road, and someone will be able to take George
His
Bowie
name.
as a name on equity.
I'm first in the queue. There's a cruise, isn't there? I've only recently learned this. There's some sort of boat.
Bowie on the boat.
Bowie on the
Remember,
boat.
we done a sketch and it was
Yeah.
we done a fake version. I think it was Jacko on the Jet or something.
That's right,
I
yeah.
played a fake George Bowie guy called Mark Jackson,
That's
and then we
right.
done a thing. It was Jacko on the Jet, and like you're flying to fucking Mallorca or something.
Yeah, because isn't it a boat to like Germany or
no,
something? Then you
I
just come
think it's
back.
Amsterdam.
And then you just go straight back though, don't you?
Yeah.
And
You
it's
probably
just
go to
like,
Amsterdam, buy a load of pills,
yeah.
Come back.
come straight back, and then
Steven.
can you imagine what state you'd be in? Because I would definitely have done that. I think I did that, but without the boat. Same amount of hours, same amount of drugs. Just didn't go anywhere.
Were you a big pill head back in the day?
I hate to admit it because my mum will probably watch it, but I mean, she knows. Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Because you're good pals with Darren Connell. Were you just like, did you just do a lot of
No, I've only ever known Darren since I was sober.
sober, right?
Yeah, but anything that would make me feel different. And I will do anything that makes me feel different until I'm sick. That's kind of the way it works.
Right.
I once drank so much coffee. I was playing music in a gig, right? And drank so much coffee that I had to tactically go and throw up because I felt so ill.
Yeah.
But as I was throwing up, the thought that came into my head was, once I'm done throwing up, what I probably need is like a small Red Bull. Just to kind of hair
See
of the
you
dog, right? I would thought this was a tactic. And then I went, you are an alcoholic.
Yeah.
Like if that's the thought that you have when you're thrown up from having too much coffee, you're definitely not in control of
You
this.
just kind of replaced that with drink loads of coffee. I know you've got an energy drink.
Got
somewhere.
a drink. No, I wouldn't say so because I do meetings and I've worked, a 12-step program and I try and live a better life. But I see it in myself in all behaviours. Like if it makes me feel good, I'll be like, I'll just keep doing that until it ruins my life.
Is that the case with the live show that you've got upcoming as well?
Yeah, so we're doing 17 nights, but we're doing them all in the one day, and I can't see any problems arising from that.
You're waiting. I think
he's
I've got an idea for a sketch.
How did you get into acting then? So you went to theatre school, was that right? Or
I answered an advert in the paper when I was 9,
right?
and I went and played Oliver in the Theatre Royal, in an
Right.
amateur production. And then a few weeks later, there was another advert in the paper that somebody, family friend or whatever, phoned up. Oh, wait, hear this? There's a thing about Oliver in the paper again, and it was for the production in the West End,
Right.
not the Oran Moor, like your London West
Yeah.
End. And I went along to that, and it was queues round the block of wee guys that all looked like me,
Little Victorian
little,
boys.
little kids.
But your
yeah.
first show was in the Theatre Royal,
No, I did Cinderella at Knightswood Community Centre.
right?
My mum and dad played the Ugly Sisters. So we all did Amdram
Right.
as a family for a short
It's
time.
a
Not like
Nepo baby reveal.
big time. Big time. The truth is coming out.
The Hingwys are a well-known acting dynasty.
They're like the Baldwins of
The Von Hingwys. So basically kind of followed it and did, if stuff came up, people would always like phone up my mum and go, there's a thing, they're looking for boys for a thing or whatever. I would go to the auditions and did shows and just always kept doing it.
Right.
And then eventually did go to drama school, but studied contemporary theatre, which for anyone who doesn't know, for the very
Which is
few,
the three of us.
the uninitiated, no one knows. Trust me, it's like live art, kind of really out there contemporary performance. So like, I don't know, you'll go into a room in the tramway and instead of, it's not like a play, there's a guy like building a house out of bricks of lard.
Yeah.
And then he'll go inside the house and he'll like pee in a jar, drink it, recite a bit of backwards text, and then like, you know, blood let all over the floor.
Right.
And then it's like, no.
Wee song here up the road.
Pathos, song, poem. So somehow I ended up on this course, and I kind of in the first couple of weeks I was like, I don't think this is right for me.
Right.
But I was what's known as a people pleaser. So I was like, I've come here and I've signed all the forms, so I better just do it. I don't want to rock the boat. So I did 4 years of it. Just pretended I liked all that.
Did you think it was going to be like musical theatre or whatever? Were you?
No, I knew it wasn't going to be that, but I was told, I think I got the idea that it was like for people who want to make their own things, not just follow other people's scripts. That was kind of in my naive head what that was going to be.
Okay.
And it was just a lot more sort of wacky and very serious as well, very worthy. Like, you know, the message and the political drive of everything. And one of the rules was no acting. Basically, don't talk to anyone who's not there. Don't pretend to be someone else.
Right.
So you can imagine me just like, right, so what are we doing?
Yeah. What sort of stuff were you doing then? What would you be?
I did my fourth year show, right? I emerged from behind a podium and I slid along the floor on my back. You know, you can imagine like my knees pointing up to the ceiling and then like that.
Right.
Along the floor backwards, right? Was my entrance. Singing a song, a version of, you know that song that's in Moulin Rouge? There was a boy. You know the the kind of sad song. I don't know. Sang a version of that about my life, and then the rest of the show, I recited wartime poetry, drank a pint of Guinness, and didn't ever look at the audience once.
Right, where were you looking? Down
The back. No, the back.
Oh, right. Okay.
I had my back to the audience the whole time, and I was like, it's groundbreaking shit. I'm never going to look at the audience. So it was called The Boy Who Wanted. And
what was it about?
I don't know, Stephen. Come on.
Did you not have something in your head?
No,
I
mean, really, it was kind of like, well, the first line of the song was, there was a boy who wanted to be an undertaker, right? Because I always thought my second choice of career was I wanted to go into the funeral business, right? I like the theatre of it all, you know? Oh, yeah. So, yeah, it was kind of like little bits and bobs of stuff that I had been interested in as a kid and what brought me to where I was at that point. And I wore a dinner suit, and I don't know, man. I don't know what it was about, but I got a good mark.
Did you? Good?
Yeah, it was the first kind of good mark I got in the 4 years, and I was like, okay. So confused.
Yeah.
Completely confused.
I would be confused, but what would that be like so you're from like west of Glasgow, and what would like people from your school think of that and stuff, and or your surroundings? Because would that not be quite a strange thing?
Yeah, you wouldn't think that people from my school could want to kill me anymore, but if they had seen that show, like I didn't get on well with people at school anyway because I liked theatre and I sang songs and I played the piano and I was also funny as well, but no one ever listened. Like if they had listened, I could have made them laugh.
Yeah. Have you had a lot of people coming crawling back now? They've seen your Janice videos and all that, and you're like, fucking yes.
The messages are unread. One guy who threatened to batter me after school, and I had to like dodge him, and then this is weird, right? But because I stayed at school later to stay away from this guy who was going to batter me, I ended up leaving school an hour later, and I was walking down the road, I got mugged.
Fucking hell.
By an unrelated party.
So that was the butterfly effect. You thought you were
Exactly.
avoiding.
I was like, I'm
getting
avoiding
battered.
him, whose name I won't mention. I really want to. And then I got mugged, and I had a tenner in my pocket. Money I'd been collecting for charity.
Fuck's sake.
Because I was getting sponsored for something. And I got mugged, and they took my tenner off me. And then a few weeks ago, I got a message. Oh, I saw your videos, mate. It's good to see you.
Was that from the mugger? It was like, this tenner's going towards your on and more play.
I owe you a tenner. I'll put it in your Patreon. But yeah, I've not opened it because I'm just like, yeah, it's nice of you to say that, but also you probably don't even remember like what you put me through.
Yeah.
So no, not that many, but that's one I can think of.
No, I think that's fair. Like, I've never had that experience of someone coming crawling back and saying sorry or whatever. But I wonder what I would.
Not yet.
But I wonder what I would react like, because I probably would be like that as well. Like, I don't think
magnanimous, or would you be like?
I don't think I would hold any resentment against them, but I don't think I would like be like, oh yeah, let's be pals now as well.
No, I'm not going to engage with it.
Yeah,
like I remember the feeling. We were mates. We sat next to each other in music, right? And then one day he used to be really kind of, what's that word, volatile, and he would just change his mood. And he was like, I fuck off or something. And then he was like, I'm going to batter you. And he locked me in a room once, in one of the music rooms, and he wouldn't let me out. And he was really creepy. It's all coming back to me now.
Fuck, sorry.
So I look back and I think, that was torture.
Yeah.
Nah, you don't get my time, sorry.
Yeah, that's fair.
But then one of the other guys I went to school with, and nothing against him, but he's a motivational speaker now.
Right.
And I don't know if you're aware, but I do
Yes.
a character.
Oh, right. I fucking love this
Who
character.
is a motivational speaker.
What's his name again?
David Glenn.
The David Glenn
The
Method.
David Glenn Method, $29.99 a month. He is coming on the cruise. There is a section of the ship where people have paid extra to go on the David Glenn cruise.
Right.
Sorry, the cruise is my third show, right?
This is a show, and all these characters you've created are on a cruise.
Yeah, well, I thought I set it on a cruise ship, and that way they can all be there.
Take some pills.
George Bowie's there.
Just quick, George Bowie Road. Up there. So I thought if it's on a cruise or something like that, then they can all kind of be there for various reasons.
A great set.
So yeah, David Glenn's going to be doing a motivational speech on the cruise.
And so is that kind of based on that guy? A wee bit?
It wasn't. It's based on a bunch of other people who obviously I won't name either, but it's funny to think because that guy threatened to batter me as well.
Wow.
And then I met him down.
Made it again.
Aye, they're still coming. I met him down at like on the canal or something once, and he was like, "Oh, how you doing?" And it was all this kind of like, "Yeah, I've been, a lot of soul searching and all that over pronouncing words."
See, as soon as I seen that character the first time you put a video up, that accent.
Aye.
You know you're being duped the second you hear.
And it's like, I've done a lot of bad things in my past.
But I'm able to speak now clearly despite my past. So
These guys
so
seem to just popping up everywhere, don't they?
Oh yeah, they're everywhere. Yeah. And this guy gave me his kind of chat, and I'm listening to it, and he's like, "Yeah, things are going really well for me," and all this crap. And I was looking at him going, "You threatened to batter me, and you're chatting away to me," and I didn't bring it up. Because I'm spineless. But he's in there, and many people are. But it's not a specific person. It's a whole, as you say, these guys are just popping up everywhere. So it's a dig at that.
They must be making money out of someone.
Yeah,
I keep seeing them.
Aye,
100%.
It's just that it's like, I suppose it's the same
Grift,
thing with Andrew Tate and all these type of people. It's just that sort of grift of like in the motivational grind set sort of shit, isn't it? But that it's funny because I think. See if you're not Scottish, you could probably hear that guy and you don't pick up that intonation as just a bullshitter. Yeah. Whereas any of us, you hear that exact voice and you're like, this guy's fucking at it.
The power of overpronouncing ing at the end of words, I've discovered, is huge, and it's not just for him. So he's going, guys, I'm going through a few things at the moment. We're trying to get people on board who will be flying on a boat on the cruise and sailing. But also that works for uncles and aunties, because your Uncle Frank goes, that's the thing, he was trying to be a smartass and then he's slowing himself down to explain to you because he knows better. Somehow that's useful. But see, the thing is, like, I think that the reason people are into these guys is because that they promise you that they can make you feel better. And everyone's looking for that. So I've said it in the show, like, if someone says to me, like, right, here's the 3 steps. Like, I'm in the 12 steps, right? And I go, right, just 12, that's fine. See if I see a book on a shelf in Waterstone's like self-help, and it goes, the 4 agreements you have to do. I go, just 4? It's less than 12. I want that. But then the next week you're saying there's 3, and what I want, what everyone wants is 1. What is the one
secret?
The one rule to everything.
Yeah.
And there isn't one.
No.
But we're all kind of looking, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm definitely guilty of that. For sure.
Yeah, the magic pill.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, to fix it all. So that's why David Glenn, there will always be people who sign up to the David Glenn method. They think he might know something.
That I love that one as well. He says, like, I don't, me not spending time with my kids. It's me spending time with kids for my
I
kids.
don't spend time with my kids, I spend time for my kids. So that they will grow up and perhaps they'll become motivational speakers too.
Is there anyone, because we've had like Chris Forbes on and people have been confused by some of his characters, like Duncan Murray, who's the third Murray brother, they thought that was real. Has there
Right.
been anyone trying to sign up for this cunt's actual...
Where did I sign up to this?
A lot of people say that in jest, and then my mate was saying to me, why don't we set it up like the payment and just see how
That's
much?
the perfect crime, isn't it?
Yeah.
You go, well, I said, but then one of the tricks with the David Glenn method is that we never know what it is.
Aye.
And in the show, I'm at pains to not. I nearly backed myself into a corner where I'm like, I'm going to have to reveal the David Glenn method. I really don't want to do that. A, because I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
And B, it leaves it open to maybe it could be something great, but also what it will be is the same as every other fucking
Yeah,
thing.
exactly.
Repackaged.
I just love that it's called method as well. Like, it's like that you follow these steps that
And
don't
then-
exist. So,
It's a method. Yes. Yeah, such nonsense.
Some people may
Maybe-
say it's madness, but there is a method.
Exactly. TM.
But if you manage to like perfect that method, that could be the pathos at the end of the show. Like that's
That it actually
a
works.
genuine thing that works for people.
Maybe
Wow.
he gets a bit of wisdom from Janice or Frank, and he goes, I thought I had all the answers, but it turns out.
yeah, there's your pathos.
Cut this out as well. That's the end of the show, innit?
Then you sing a song as all of them. Like it's
Yeah.
like a barbershop kind of thing.
Right, all four.
Yeah, harmonise them with yourself.
Goodbye, my baby. Goodbye, my honey. Hello, my ragtime girl. It's tricky to do all four. I get a loop pedal. Right, stop. It's too much.
That's great.
One
But
of your shows that I watched is on YouTube.
Yeah.
and you put that on yourself, didn't you? That's
Aye.
not like a.
That's not a bootleg, no.
Right, good. And it's great. I would thoroughly recommend people to watch that if they want to have a wee taster of what's
To get a sense of
yet
it.
to
Yeah.
come.
The second
So
one
that
is
like
on film as
from the
well.
live show doing the characters? Is that
Yeah,
online?
yeah.
All right, I didn't
The
realise.
first
that.
part one, the Christmas one, the first one I ever did. And part two is filmed. We had some sound problems and I'm too lazy to sort them out. So at some point that will go up as well.
Brilliant.
But the plan is to do the trilogy.
Is this
as
is this
one
part
thing.
three?
This is part
Yeah,
3.
okay.
I always wanted to make a trilogy of something.
Right.
Even though just anything, 3 things.
And do all 3 stories link, or is it just as
No, not really. Although, like, definitely 3 happens after the events of 2 have happened.
okay?
So, in as much as I don't want to give anything away because the big events are reveals in each show, but
Aye.
yeah, like they are in chronological order, but you don't need to have seen one.
Must
Just
be fun
to
having
enjoy
the
the other.
extended Brido universe.
Yeah, because
The
it's
lore.
going out, and then it's going like, wait a minute, did they actually know each other, or did they used to know each other, or
Yeah.
who is David Glenn when you put him in relation to Janice? Because Janice and Frank are married.
Yeah.
And they weren't at first. I didn't know that. It revealed itself to me. It was just an auntie and an uncle. And then I'm like, well, yeah, we'll just, because they never have to meet on camera. They just have to refer to each other. And sometimes a Janice video will start with, just soak it. Just soak it and we can get back to it later. I said so. Oh, it's useless. And you can have him doing the same, you know what I mean? Would you- I'm just trying to talk to Bob here. So they're in each other's orbit, but we never see them, cross.
That's really good.
Do you feel like you prefer doing Janice than Frank?
I think, if I'm honest, Janice is. I was going to say Janice is closest to me. No, I don't know. I think Frank's philosophy is the closest to my own one.
Uh-huh.
Frank has an amazing philosophy. I feel okay saying it's amazing because I feel like he's not me.
He's got a method, if you will.
Yeah. It's just like he's got this sort of unattached view on life. He's not bothered about possessions or money. He just thinks, he knows what's important. And I think Janice does too, but she doesn't have as clever a way of saying it.
Aye.
She doesn't have the vocabulary that Frank does. He's a smart guy.
Yeah.
And Janice shows love in different ways. I think they end up just being facets of yourself.
Aye,
I
yeah.
went through a massive self-help phase and loved motivational speakers,
Aye.
and
And you
then-
need to know stuff about it to be able to successfully parody it
right.
as well,
But
don't
I think
you?
I think in our generation anyway, we all have like probably picked up a couple of those books from time to time.
Yeah.
Or now we've probably all watched the documentaries defaming them or declaiming them, or whatever that word is. So like that's part of our collective consciousness, isn't it? But yeah, I think even David Glenn is part of my own universe in my mind, because I went through a phase where I was like, I could help people. I did coaching qualifications.
Going up to
met
people in the
that
middle.
guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Have you come up with any characters at any point where you're like, this is going to be a good one, and then it's just not worked for whatever reason?
I wouldn't say characters, but ideas for videos, like things that I think this is going to fly, and then it doesn't, and then things that I think this is just another one, and then it goes nuts. And I'm talking about numbers online, of course, and I can't tell, but the David Glenn thing has actually been brewing for about 10 years, because I did at the Oran Moor, the Play Pie and a Pint. They used to do, for one season or two, they did a thing called Curtain Raisers, and it was like a miniature performance before the play began.
Right.
So each week on a Thursday, they would have someone come in and do a 3-minute performance, and they got like 100 quid or something like that, and it was just like this platform for people to try out new things. So I did a thing called Hank Dollar, and it was an American motivational speaker, and it was a mini musical. So there were 3 songs in it. It ended up lasting about 5 minutes, but there were 3 steps. And I remember I had the whole audience singing at the end, 3 steps to joy. Wave your hands, everybody. 3 steps to happiness. And step 1, something. And step 2, invest £5,000, all checks made out to me. Something, by your own volition. And for that, you'll make a 1% commission. And it was essentially a pyramid scheme. But he wore a big 10-gallon hat. And that was me at the very end of my sort of interest in self-help phase, where I'm going, I need to start parodying these people.
Yeah.
And then about 2 years ago, I tried to do a character who had a different name, who was a motivational speaker, and it wasn't quite right. And I sent it to my mate, and he was like, So like David Glenn emerged, looks like he emerged one day, but actually in my head, I've been cooking that for a long time. And at some point it ripens and you go, this is it.
Yeah.
You know the way, with a bit or with a character.
Especially when like people have seen that kind of guy online. I feel like I've seen that guy more and more recently as well.
Definitely.
So
It's the time for him.
It's the time
Exactly.
for that to
We live in the David Glenn era.
We do.
Yeah.
Right now.
Oh, we
David
absolutely.
Glenn's world, we're just living in it.
Exactly. Well, like with TikTok and stuff, like the way social media is now, it's kind of ripe for people to do stuff like that.
Yeah.
Everyone's got a hustle. Everyone's got like an angle. They have to have an angle,
Yeah. You've mentioned this friend that you've sent these ideas to. Do you do that all the time, or is it only certain ones that are maybe on the cusp? And is it a person that's in comedy, or is it just a random?
No, it's my mate Gary McNair, who recently did the show Dear Billy, which was the Billy Connolly tribute.
Right.
It's not a tribute act, but it's a show about what people in Scotland think of Billy Connolly. It's an amazing show. He directs my shows.
Right.
So I always kind of bounce stuff off him, but not like each video. I used to send each video to him and wait for him to go, ha ha ha, never go, right, put it online. And now I just do it. But if there's new stuff and it's completely new, like a new character, sometimes I do send it to usually him.
Yeah.
Because just somebody you trust, isn't it?
Aye.
And for someone to go, he would be happy to say to me if it was like, yeah, I don't know, I'd be careful about mentioning that, or, he wouldn't feel bad about just warning me off something or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Just good to have that.
What would be like your what would be your kind of ideal thing to kind of get towards eventually? But like, would you love to just continue doing shows with like your own characters and stuff like that, or would you see that as a springboard towards like acting and other things? Like, what would be your kind of ideal sort of goal?
Well, like I definitely still want to be an actor.
Uh-huh.
I just want to be on stage,
Aye.
and
Would you rather stage than TV?
Yeah. Although I'd rather the TV money.
Yeah.
I mean, being a theatre actor is not a way to make a living, really.
Unless you're in London, or is it still bad?
It's a bit better in London. I'm doing a show in London at the end of the year. It's not as much better as you would think. But yeah, I just want to be on stage. But I think with I'd like to have that autonomy of continuing to do my own stuff. I want to do the whole trilogy as one big experience next year.
Yeah.
Ideally, at number one venues. So what I do is I decide I'm going to do that, and then I let the details figure themselves out.
Yeah.
And it does come together. I knock on doors and I say to people, so I'm doing this thing. Do you want to help? Or do you want to be involved? Or do you know how you can help? A sort of a brazen, annoying level of self-assuredness on the surface.
Yeah.
Underneath going, oh fuck, we'll never do it. But I've decided I'm doing the trilogy next year. And maybe people will want to come and they'll watch all 3 parts back to back.
So is that going to be a 3-hour extravaganza?
Yeah, but I think with not just intervals, I think with like meal breaks.
Right.
Not like
Breakfast,
providing
lunch and
food.
dinner.
No.
Is this,
just like-
is this your contemporary acting coming back in? Where it's
That's
like, you cook the meals and all that stuff in between.
Blood
Co-op
letting
meal
at the
deal
end.
between everyone.
But I was thinking, if I did like part 1 at 3 p.m. and then at 4ish that's finished, and then people go and there's like a little break, and then I do like 6 p.m. and there's a break, and then 8 p.m. so they can go out for a
great.
meal, and by the end of the night they feel like they've spent all day with these characters. And this huge kind of story arc.
You should just do it on a fucking cruise ship.
Oh, mate. There's so many options. The other thing is it's about the cheapest thing you can possibly do. It's just me. It's like doing stand-up, and it's me on the stage. What does it need? Just people watching. So it's pretty flexible in that way, because it's not like some big production you have to bring around in trucks and, you know.
That sounds good.
But you had a wee bit of like stage and stuff for that show that I watched, didn't you? You had a chair and stuff.
We got that from charity shops in Partick. We went one day to charity shops in Partick and just went that like in an hour.
Right.
Most of it's in my house now. The second show, I had a designer make me a look, and it was much cleaner. The surgery bit had like a tall, thin shelf with loads of pill bottles in it, and it was lit by a particular light, and it was really neat. And then the third, I've got a designer making like the deck of the cruise ship, or something that suggests that.
Yeah.
So like to do the trilogy would be a bigger deal.
Sure.
It would need some backing. So if you guys want to invest
Sure, yeah.
some of that money you've got, $29.99 a month, guys.
What was it, rule 2? Only $5,000 of your own money.
Exactly, you make commission. But then, as my dad always says, 1% of fuck all still fuck all. So it would have to be slightly bigger if it was all 3, but it would need a bit of support. But yeah,
That's cool though, and you say like you decide you're going to do a thing, and then the world has a way of kind of manifesting it, just
I
making
think
it
so,
happen.
yeah.
You just feel that. I agree with that as well, and I think like it's that is a powerful thing when you set your mind to something, and just it's amazing how things can bend in your favour.
but not in a kind of a woo woo way to me. Like I used to kind of get in for more of that, but actually it's a really simple thing of just going. It's practical for me.
Yeah.
Well, I've decided that's what I'm going to do next year, and I'm no longer surprised by the way stuff just.
Yeah.
It often doesn't look like you expected it to look, but it's still the thing.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
And then you take the steps to do it rather than just waiting for it to happen.
Right, you don't just sit and wait.
Yeah,
Well, you have to keep hustling, don't you?
Yeah, that's it. That's the David Glenn method.
That is the David Glenn method. It's for me, it's for you, it's for everyone. Should look down the lens for that. Okay, guys?
I think that's a good way to end things.
I'd like to have you back on just as David Glenn if that's possible.
Yeah.
That would be great.
Yeah, you could do all the podcasts like 5 times.
I think we'd get more patrons. So,
I just come here in a suit jacket. Is that the brand? Oh no, that's the David Glenn episode. Yeah, he's wearing a blue suit jacket. Totally different guy.
So obviously you do have your upcoming shows of the cruise very shortly.
Yes.
What dates are those again?
21st to the 23rd of July, or more in Glasgow.
Brilliant. Well worth going along.
Yeah, come on down. All the links are on
Recommend.
my bio, the usual.
Yeah, we'll put them in the
Link tree.
description.
Yeah,
to the
that'd be
show
amazing,
as well. And obviously can follow you at Brido Hingwy with a W, not an M.
With a W on all social media platforms.
Is there anything else you'd like to plug? Obviously, me and Steve have both done your podcast as well.
Yes, which means, not which means, but it'd be great if you did it.
Don't have to. I'm happy to.
I'd love
You
that.
have to do it.
So I do
It's like
a
jury
mostly
service.
theatre podcast, a creative podcast
Yeah,
called
yeah.
Putting It Together, and it's
Did you have Alan Cummings on recently or something like that?
No.
You've had some really good guests.
I've had
Alistair
some-
Green.
I had Alistair Green on
That was who
recently.
you had. I don't know why I thought it was Alan Cummings.
Sorry,
Very
different.
similar.
I knew he was a big guy that had a name beginning with A. That was it.
But yeah, Alistair Green. So a
Yeah.
bit like you were saying before we started, like when people are in town,
He's
if
kind of
you
the
could describe
English
them,
you, isn't he?
I would be flattered to think so. I think
would
he's
say
amazing.
so. He picks up really small.
Yeah.
Even just in
details.
terms
Yeah,
of just
yeah.
the one shot thing, that
Simple,
as well.
yeah.
Aye,
Well, I
but-
liked his videos before I started, so to be fair, like he's definitely been an influence.
Sure.
But yeah, my theatre, my podcast is mostly theatre stuff, or it's like, what's the creative process about?
Aye.
It started out as just actors, but now it's actors, comedians, directors, writers, and it's called Putting It Together. We've done nearly 320 episodes
Bloody
now,
hell.
Well,
once a week since November 2017. So have a listen.
yeah.
Definitely.
It's all there.
And
Very good.
anything else you'd like to plug before we go? Is that?
No, just co-op meal deals are not as much of a deal as you might think.
Brilliant. And if you haven't, obviously check out Brido's videos. They're fucking fantastic as well.
Yeah.
Before we go, just please, as ever, remember to like and subscribe on YouTube. Give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And you can follow us at SomewherePod on Instagram, TikTok and Twitter. And send any questions you've got to our email address, which is somewherepod@gmail.com. Thanks a lot for tuning in, guys, and we'll speak to you soon.
Cheers. Thanks very much.
Brido.
Nice one. Thanks, boys.
Cheers,
Thanks a
guys.
lot, man.
Smashing.